At 3 a.m., deep within a snow-covered forest on the Ukrainian border, the frozen silence is shattered by the mechanical roar of 3 heavy transporter erector launchers. The hydraulic arms of the TEL vehicles lock into a vertical position as the Ivchenko Progress AI-25TL turbofan engines ignite, glowing white-hot in the -5°F night. This is the FP-5 Flamingo, a 13,000-pound long-range strike platform with a 20-foot wingspan, accelerating into the sky before leveling out just 45 feet above the deck. Countdown: 3.5 hours until impact with the Russian command center in Moscow. While diplomatic talks proceed in Abu Dhabi, Russia spent the previous night launching over 400 drones and 70 missiles into the Ukrainian energy grid. Kyiv is in total darkness. Ukraine is no longer responding with light FPV drones. They are firing the FP-5 Flamingo, a heavy bunker buster, directly at the one place the Russian elite believe they are untouchable. On the operator's screen in a hidden border bunker, the target is locked: the underground command centers beneath the Arbatskaya and Taganskaya stations. Specifically, Bunker 42, a Cold War-era facility buried up to 280 feet deep, currently serving as a high-security nerve center for the Russian military. The tactical display is a spider web of red. S-400, Pantsir S-1, and Tor M2 batteries form a solid wall over the Russian capital. But the FP-5 Flamingo is exploiting the physics of ground clutter, flying so low and fast that Russian radar operators are mistaking its 13,000-pound signature for a speeding semi-truck on the M3 highway. The Ukrainian crews are already executing shoot-and-scoot protocols, retracting the launcher arms and moving the TEL vehicles before the first Russian Iskander missiles can retaliate against their launch position. The deep command structure of the empire is about to get smashed. 3:05 a.m., the border forest between Ukraine and Russia. 3 heavy transporter erector launcher vehicles are buried beneath layers of specialized thermal camouflage netting, their tires sinking into the frozen mud of the -5°F night. Inside a nearby command van, the Ukrainian operator's breath hitches as he performs a final synchronization of the TERCOM, terrain contour matching, and inertial navigation systems. He initiates the launch sequence for a pair of FP-5 Flamingo units. The first is a dedicated decoy stripped of its 2,500-pound warhead and fitted with massive radar reflectors to mimic the signature of a large, high-value target. As the two 13,000-pound projectiles scream into the sky, the TEL vehicles immediately retract their hydraulic arms and begin their shoot-and-scoot maneuver, racing to a secondary hidden position 10 miles away. The FP-5 Flamingo drops to a terrifying altitude of 45 feet, hugging the contours of the Russian forest to stay beneath the radar horizon. By following the winding path of the Moskva River, the drone utilizes the riverbanks as natural baffles to block the side lobes of Russian early warning radars. To further complicate the defensive picture, the drone's flight computer is executing a radar spoofing profile, maintaining a steady, non-aggressive speed and heading that mimics the electronic signature of a civilian Aeroflot flight. But the Russian aerospace forces are not entirely blind. High above, a Russian infrared reconnaissance satellite detects the massive thermal bloom of the FP-5 Flamingo's launch. Within minutes, the Russian command center in Kursk is alive with activity. Launcher sites active. Identify the launch point and engage. A Russian Orlan 10 reconnaissance drone patrolling the border sector spots the distinct tire tracks of the heavy TELs in the snow. The information is relayed instantly to a flight of Su-34 fighter bombers loitering in the area. The Russian pilots push their throttles to afterburner, diving toward the suspected launch coordinates to deliver a retaliatory strike with guided ordnance. For the Ukrainian launch crews, the mission has become a high-speed survival race. They must reach their secondary concealment before the Su-34s turn the forest into a graveyard. Meanwhile, 600 miles away, the underground heart of Moscow remains oblivious to the 6-ton ghost currently navigating its backyard. 4:30 a.m. 100 miles from the Moscow Ring Road, the Russian defense net finally draws blood. The 92 N6E Gravestone radar, the primary target engagement eye of the S-400 system, successfully filters out the ground clutter and locks onto a massive low-altitude signature moving at 600 miles per hour. Inside a hardened air defense bunker, the Russian commander barks orders for a full layered response. Contact at low altitude, profile is anomalous, scramble the Pantsir S1 units and synchronize the Tor M2 batteries. S-400, prepare for a saturation barrage. The sky over the Moscow outskirts erupts into a cauldron of fire. 57 E-6 missiles from the Pantsir S1 batteries roar off their rails, their rocket motors lighting up the minus 10-degree Fahrenheit night as they accelerate to Mach 4. On the ground, Spetsnaz teams scramble to elevated positions near the highway, their AK-12S ready, and manpad searchlights cutting through the freezing fog. The lead decoy FP-5 Flamingo, engineered for this exact moment, executes a violent pre-programmed maneuver, diving to an altitude of just 35 feet. The S-400 missiles, optimized for higher altitude intercepts, lose their lock in the dense fog and iron-rich ground clutter, detonating uselessly in the clouds as the decoy's massive radar reflectors lure the interceptors into empty air. Simultaneously, 500 miles away at the Ukrainian border, the Russian counterstrike begins with terrifying intensity. Launcher sites confirmed. Iskander battery, engage target coordinates immediately. 2 Iskander M ballistic missiles arc into the atmosphere from their silos in Kursk. Their 1,000-pound high-explosive warheads aimed at the precise forest clearing where the FP-5 Flamingo TEL vehicles were spotted 10 minutes ago. A flight of Su-34 fighter bombers arrives over the sector, dropping heavy guided ordnance on the thermal tracks identified by the Orlan 10 reconnaissance drone. The forest is turned into a landscape of fire and craters as the Russian military throws its full weight into the hunt for the Ukrainian launchers. It is a high-speed elimination game played in sub-zero silence, but the hunters have no idea they are chasing a ghost that has already left the building. 5:15 a.m. The FP-5 Flamingo is suddenly slammed by a 30-pound per square inch overpressure wave as a Russian S-400 interceptor detonates just 200 feet above its flight path. The 13,000-pound airframe groans under the stress, the AI-25TL turbofan engine momentarily stuttering as it ingests turbulent, debris-filled air. In the Ukrainian command bunker, the operator's main screen turns into a blizzard of static. The mission is seconds away from a catastrophic failure as the drone begins to drift toward a residential high-rise. But the Ukrainian operator initiates the optical pivot. He manually overrides the jammed satellite link, switching the drone's guidance to its secondary infrared seeker and Turcom backup. The FP-5 Flamingo is no longer looking at coordinates, it is looking at the physical world. The infrared camera identifies the distinct thermal and geometric signature of the Bolshoi-Kameny Bridge spanning the Moskva River. The drone executes a violent pre-programmed 30-degree turn, banking between the skyscrapers to use the city's concrete mass as a shield against further radar locks. Meanwhile, the Russian hunt for the source of the launch reaches a violent climax. 2 Iskander M ballistic missiles impact the Ukrainian forest clearing with the force of a localized earthquake, vaporizing everything within a 300-yard radius. Russian Su-34 pilots report target destroyed as they see the massive secondary explosions and thermal plumes from the ground. This is the moment the Ukrainian ace is revealed. The Russian Iskander missiles didn't hit the real launchers, they hit Shadow TELs, high-fidelity inflatable decoys equipped with heat emitters and electronic spoofing modules that perfectly mimic the signature of the FP-5 Flamingo vehicles. While the Russian aerospace forces are celebrating a successful hunt, the real mobile TEL vehicles have already moved 10 miles away from the original launch site, hidden beneath a new layer of thermal camouflage and radar-absorbent netting. The Ukrainian operator allows himself a grim laugh through his headset. They are burning million-dollar missiles to kill balloons. We are still in the game. Back in Moscow, the primary FP-5 Flamingo is now just minutes away from its terminal dive. The drone's carbon fiber composite skin and low-altitude profile have allowed it to slip through the radar shadows of the Moscow skyscrapers, effectively bypassing the Gravestone radar's engagement envelope. The Russian guards at the Moscow Metro are frantically attempting to seal the massive ventilation shafts near Bunker 42, but the 6-ton Ghost is already too close. The physics of a bunker buster are about to meet the reality of Russian command. 5:45 a.m. The FP-5 Flamingo is now visible to the naked eye. Its AI-25TL turbofan engine creating a low-frequency roar that shakes the reinforced concrete of the Arbatskaya district. Inside the Russian command center, the mood has shifted from professional defense to absolute sub-zero panic. They realize the Iskander strikes at the border hit nothing but inflatable decoys, and the real 13,000-pound threat is currently seconds away from the city's most sensitive underground sanctuary. Russian Rosgvardia and Spetsnaz teams are scrambling near the surface entrances of Bunker 42. They are desperately trying to seal the heavy steel ventilation grates, their AK-12S and PKM machine guns firing blindly into the snowy sky in a desperate attempt to create a curtain of lead. But at 600 miles per hour, the FP-5 Flamingo is a kinetic sledgehammer that small arms fire cannot deflect. A soldier on a nearby rooftop fires a burst from a DSHK heavy machine gun, the .50 caliber rounds skipping off the drone's reinforced carbon fiber fuselage, but the 6-ton mass barely flinches. The Ukrainian operator, watching the high-definition optical feed, identifies the structural vulnerability his team has been studying for months. A 1950s-era maintenance shaft that leads directly into the deeper tiers of the Bunker 42 complex. This is the ultimate radar dead zone. No S-400 can reach 200 feet into the earth, and the Pantsir S-1 guns cannot depress low enough to fire into a tunnel entrance. The drone executes its terminal maneuver, banking into a violent vertical descent toward the maintenance shaft. The camera feed flashes with the flickering neon lights of the maintenance tunnel for a fraction of a second as the drone dives into the earth at Mach 0.8. The screen turns to static, the final handshake before the physics of a 2,500-pound warhead take over. The 6-ton ghost has officially entered the deep heart of the Empire. The standing ovation is over. The deep heart is about to be smashed. At exactly 5:45 and 1 a.m., the terminal dive of the FP-5 Flamingo reaches its explosive conclusion 280 feet beneath the streets of Moscow. The impact is not a chaotic event. It is a masterclass in structural decapitation. The 13,000-pound airframe, traveling at Mach 0.8, slams into the maintenance shaft with enough kinetic energy to crack the primary concrete shielding before the warhead even detonates. Then, the tandem charge physics take over. The precursor-shaped charge vaporizes 30 feet of reinforced concrete and lead lining in a microsecond, clearing a keyhole for the main 2,540-pound high-explosive payload to penetrate the inner sanctum of Bunker 42. The resulting subterranean apocalypse is absolute. An overpressure wave exceeding 30 pounds per square inch, far beyond the threshold for total structural failure and human lethality, screams through the interconnected command galleries. In a confined underground environment, the blast energy cannot dissipate. It reflects off the reinforced walls, multiplying its destructive force and instantly neutralizing the Russian military's strategic deep heart. The destruction quickly triggers a systemic collapse that reaches far beyond the bunker's walls. The massive pressure spike travels through the shared ventilation and utility conduits, causing a catastrophic chain reaction across the central Moscow Metro power grid. Within minutes, 15 of the city's primary underground stations lose total power. Thousands of civilians and officials are plunged into darkness in the -10°F morning, as the transit system that was supposed to be their ultimate sanctuary becomes a silent, frozen tomb. The strategic aftermath is a portrait of total imperial paralysis. While the Kremlin remains silent for 6 hours following the strike, the reality of the failure sets in. The multi-billion-dollar S-400 and Pantsir S-1 networks were successfully bypassed by a drone that costs less than a single high-end interceptor missile. More humiliating for the Russian aerospace forces is the realization that their retaliatory Iskander strikes on the border achieved exactly nothing. They burned millions of dollars in ballistic missiles to incinerate inflatable decoys, while the real Ukrainian TEL vehicles had already successfully shot and scooted to safety. Which Russian command center should be smashed next? The naval headquarters in the north or the logistics hubs in the Urals? Let us know in the comments below. Bye for now.